Hey,
Good
Rob.
morning.
How have you been?
I doing well. How are you?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Getting ready to head on vacation for a couple weeks.
Lovely. Any big plans, or I'm assuming
Yeah.
vacation means actually leaving the
Yeah.
house.
Yep, heading to Europe for 2 weeks. Going for a wedding, and then figure if I'm heading all the way to Europe, we might as well bop around for a bit.
Very cool. Very cool. What are the highlights?
Wedding in Rome, some
Wow.
travel up and down the coast, and then poking through through Czechia because neither me or my fiance have been.
Nice.
So
It's a good enough reason as any.
yeah. Did Google do the thing again?
It likes to do that from time to time. Hey,
Okay. It looks like Google restricted this meeting again. I have to figure out where to.
How's Troy here then?
I had to accept Troy.
Okay.
why are you?
Oh,
You're
Well,
just
hi,
disappointed
hello
you're
to
gonna
you
make
too,
it?
James.
Hey, sorry.
Hey,
I
Troy.
don't mean it. I don't mean it in that way, Troy. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone.
Hello,
Hey.
hello.
Sorry, what did you ask Roger?
I thought you weren't going to be here.
I wasn't going to, but I've got half an hour free, so I thought I might join. So excuse the generic hotel back room.
You sneak away from the company sanctioned fun, mandated fun.
Yeah, there's company mandated fun starting again in half an hour, so I have some time.
Well, I can't figure out how to change the meeting settings, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And if folks try to join, we can add them.
Who's leading today? And did my rotation app work still?
It did, but I had to update it to your own.
First time leading, so you need to assist me here. I don't think I have access even. Are you sending something my way, or?
So I pinged you on Slack with the README for the TSC earlier today. That just goes through the process of what we typically do.
Last week's items, anything on the agenda, any ad hoc, any community.
Yep. And the recording is active, so you can take notes later if you like.
Just a minute. You can prepare. Sorry about that. Can you Slack me maybe the? Oh, you sent it here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the steering committee and core team chat in the internal Slack.
I think we have no agenda today, right?
I'm not seeing any items. My only ask was around follow up on a couple of things that we're already following up on. So. My video is also really Yankee, so I might turn myself off. I don't know what's going on today, but laptop might just be dying.
Yeah, maybe any chance someone can take it just for now, and I will make sure that next time I come prepared to lead.
Sure. I mean, here's the link to our process.
I can do it super quick now. That's fine. I don't mind sharing my screen and take it this week, and Yaron, you could do the next time. So I'll just go over the items for last week. So I'm just going to pull up Yusuf's notes. Oh, we do have awesome. So just to go through the notes from last time, let me share my screen. Okay, so reminder from last week, we were updating our notes and video process. We were talking about features from OpenTofu, like each of the companies requesting things, AI usage policy, shorter dev cycle, and we have some action items. James is to create service tickets and talk to the admins about the notes and the video stuff. I've created such tickets. I'm waiting on some things. I think there's another item here from the previous meeting about getting us moved across to GitHub Enterprise, which is in motion. But you might have seen today that the Linux Foundation has changed how they're doing some GitHub Enterprise things. I've got a ticket open with eHort. We have done an analysis of our GitHub account. We're not doing anything super special. We just need to move over to their workers for the OpenTofu release. And because of that, I spoke to Christian about this. We may put it on hold until we've done the next OpenTofu release, full release. Then we know that we can migrate the workers without any stress. But what this will mean is, Igor, I think it's your credit card that's attached to our GitHub account right now.
Probably.
I think you won't have to pay like $80 a month or whatever it is now. The Linux Foundation will pay. So, that's
all the save money. Like the next beer one will meet on me.
That is definitely going in the notes, written down. We will clip this on YouTube, and next time we're together, we will. AI usage policy, we are still kicking this around internally and having some discussions. I think, Christian, you maybe can correct me, but the overall view is that we are fine with category C and moving forward with that. So that is having an AI usage policy where maintainers, I almost said core team, can use AI on greenfield projects. So this will be things like our registry UI, but we are still discussing what we allow and what we don't allow for A and B. So, but I think in the meantime, someone said we need to be a bit more explicit with our policy because we're starting to get a lot more AI issues and PRs.
Yeah, I think the idea is we'll put a policy in all three categories, though A and B will just reinforce what we do today, which is no AI is allowed. But category C, at least within the maintainers' discussions, has been low enough risk that if we need to pull something out, or if some sort of incident happens, the fallout of category C is pretty minor, and it also lets us get a handle on what using these tools within the LF guidelines are like. Get some experience on the maintainers team, and give us a little bit more breathing space to figure out category B and category A.
Yeah. I think that covers everything there. Does anyone have notes on anything from last week?
I have one thing I've been meaning to share with Yusuf, which is this link here. Have we talked about that before? So the context for this is, I believe in the meeting before this one, I was asking about what the wish list might be for 1.13 and beyond, and you mentioned something about interactions with providers and locking in OpenTofu. Have you guys at TerraGrunt experimented with this setting in your use case?
I believe an early implementation of the provider cache server used it, and then it was removed because it caused either unexpected behavior for users or resulted in bugs. I don't remember the exact details.
Okay.
But I had a bug report that I looked at this morning, actually, that was related to being more defensive about not manipulating the .terraform.lock.hcl file because it was the initial fix was, it was surprising to users that TerraGrunt would modify the .terraform.lock.hcl files when OpenTofu wouldn't. And Now that's causing like a surprise for people who got used to that old behavior because they're like, hey, you used to do this really convenient thing for me. And now I have to lock all my providers to platform specific stuff. So TerraRun likely needs to integrate with the endpoints for the OpenTofu registry to silently write the full set of provider hashes by default on init. And then we also need to decide whether or not we're going to do what I believe is the current plan for OpenTofu, which is silently inject additional hashes. And that's not considered triggering this linked behavior. Like, you don't need to opt into this behavior. So that's fun. We need to coordinate all that. Did that answer your question? Was that too much information?
No, I think that's good. We can keep circling back as we keep playing with this. Once the next version of OpenTofu is out, it'll definitely be a change for users and may make your job easier or harder depending on how they react to additional the full set of hashes showing up by default.
Have we worked out the like rollout plan for this just for user awareness?
So there's some pretty big notes on it in the changelog, and there's also a number of the plan is to call it out in very big letters in the actual release announcement on the blog. We didn't have anything beyond that planned, but hopefully it's seen as I don't have to worry about running Tofu providers lock again. But some people will likely be surprised by it, so we need to be ready on the maintainers team to triage that as it comes in.
I know we generally don't want noise in the logs, but I do wonder if maybe the first, just maybe for 112, there's an info log that says the default behavior of OpenTofu has changed. Additional hashes have been written to the lock file. This is safe because these are, existing hashes will not be modified, but additional platforms are now automatically recorded. You do not need to worry about this diff in your history. You're muted.
It's an interesting idea. That's something we should definitely have. It's a discussion we should have in the maintainers chat, I think. We just triaged, so I'm getting out of that mindset. We were planning on putting out the release candidate for 113 tomorrow, but if we accept this idea, that would mean that we'd hold off on that for probably a couple more days and get that sorted out.
We should definitely put it front and center at the top of the changelog and the blog post on everything like that, though, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, user sentiment I've seen, and maybe it's because TerraGrunt is orchestrating OpenTofu, but like folks have been like, you edited a lock file, it should be locked. You broke my system. So take that as you will.
Yeah.
Is there a way to opt out of those changes? Right now,
I don't believe so, yeah.
manage the lock files ourselves, and I don't know what the implications of using that new system versus the old one would be.
Yeah. The main change is when you run tofu in it, you don't just get the hashes for your platform, you get the hashes for all platforms.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But it's going to change. It's going to trigger a change in literally every single one of the 600 stacks that I've got. So it's intimidating too.
Yeah. We did not add anything to turn it off, to be blunt.
I think that's probably a good thing. I think it causes a lot more harm than good to only lock the specific platform that you're running on, especially given that there's no performance overhead to generating all those hashes now. And I don't think that's a good lever to give folks. I think just as long as folks know what's happening, it won't feel scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can play around with adding a warning and seeing the register code gets a little bit screwy. It's I think it's either going to be something where it's a very clear, obvious change that is low risk to the release, or it's going to change a bunch of things, and we might consider releasing without the message. But we can play around with that over the next day or so.
What are the implications of like passing the like platform tags, like what we do? So we compile the init for like multiple platforms, but not all of them.
So you're talking providers lock?
Yes.
Because that's what takes platforms. So currently, Tofu providers lock still functions the same way it always did.
Okay.
It's Tofu init that downloads all of the hashes and updates the lock file.
Okay.
So I believe the way that Martin put this in discussion was that you can still, so Tofu providers lock is if you're very paranoid and want to make sure that the binary you downloaded actually matches what's in the lock file for all the platforms. It's more of a validation tool than a population tool now in most scenarios.
We'll be fine.
We do have a beta out if you want to play with it, Troy, and give us some feedback. We are desperate for any feedback on this. We've had the beta out and have pinged in the OpenTofu channel a couple times saying, hey, please let us know if there's anything surprising or anything that's not working the way you'd expect.
Yeah.
Testing a beta is not always easy, especially when you have a million other things going on.
Yeah, and the other difference is we'll have to change our GitHub like actions in such a way to where it accommodates both versions now and the different init and lock file patterns.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not 100% sure of what those changes will need to be. So maybe I need to stick my guy Boyan on it, and we'll figure it out.
Well, there's still going to be an RC window for last minute feedback.
Yeah.
If there's anything critical. Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any other agenda items they'd like to bring up today? I think Yusuf did write an agenda file, but it's just previous action items. There's no planned topics or ad hoc discussions unless anybody wants to throw one out there.
I think just the notification that we're in the final phases of getting 112 out the door. RC1 hopefully this week, assuming no major problems, or GitHub going down for another day again. Which who knows at this point. But
okay.
we do, as part of our release notes, it's check the GitHub status page, check the Cloudflare status page, make sure there aren't any ongoing incidents because we've been bitten by that in the past.
One thing, have maintainers discussed immutable releases since last time? Okay.
No.
No, I think we're going to kick that can to it.
Yeah, I don't think we should do anything for this release, but I think we should definitely. I was got it on my to-do list to open an issue and discuss for the next release.
Cool.
And I want to play with the idea of doing like an alpha, like an interim release as a test for immutable stuff. So I know we're not really been doing alpha and beta, but I definitely think we should.
The current plan, just so you know, for Terrorant is to switch our release process to be compatible with immutable releases and cut immutable compatible releases until like 1.1 or something, and then just turn on the toggle.
That makes sense. I think I want to have a broader discussion because I wanted to bring up with the maintainers the idea of the fact that we fork all of the providers, and should, when we do the releases of those providers, should they be immutable as well? But
Like if upstream providers they will make a change and like republish the release, then
Yeah.
we kind of like out of options.
yeah, we don't like automatically support that today, but I think there is situations where they've re-released something and we've had to like take down a build and put one up. But maybe instead of taking down a build and put one up, we put up an alternative. Or I don't know.
Versioning will be hell.
Yep. But I think we should open the discussion about it and have a discussion. And but I agree. This is the because it's not just the OpenTofu core repo that could do with the immutable releases. There's the Tofu LS. There's the VS Code extension. There's a lot of things. So we should have a story for all of those. Replacing versions is a shit practice anyways, Troy says. I fully agree. In fact, we recently took a stance where there was a bug in Go Releaser that meant that people who built their providers, the GPG key was not matching. And this was just a bug for like a day, but it was the stance of the OpenTofu team that we will not be republishing providers under the same version, and that people should bump the version of their providers and just accept that that one version is bad. And I think it's usually our general, people shouldn't be republishing under the same Git tag or release for any providers or modules.
I think unpublishing a version is an acceptable process, but not republishing.
Yeah.
Agreed. One quick note that this reminded me of is we did recently make a change to the registry. There is probably going to be an RFC detailing the exact approach OpenTofu takes at some point, but we've had on our to-do list for a long time. We've been serving our modules based on tag. So if you downloaded some AWS module, it would be based on the tag. And if the tag updated, OpenTofu would then would download whatever the latest tag is. A few years ago, Terraform with the registry made a change, and we've been asked to make a change so that when we index a module for the first time, or index a module version for the first time, we record the commit hash. And now we're using that as the actual ref in the URL that is served to OpenTofu from the registry. So that increases security a fair bit. So someone can't go in and republish a bunch of modules, and the registry will continue to serve the old one. So the other thing that's coming out of this is we now record the last, I call it the discovered time. And it's something we're serving as part of the registry API at this point. But in lieu of supply chain funsies that have been happening over the past couple of weeks, it's probably the nicest way I can put it. We've gotten a few asks to say, I want to install the latest version of, install the latest version of this provider or this module, but I want it to lag 7 days or 14 days or whatever that is. So we haven't decided exactly what form that's going to take in OpenTofu, but supporting that metadata in the registry seemed like a good thing to get out of the way now, so that by the time the next release goes out, if we have figured out what that design will look like for the end users, the registry will already be populated months back with the discovered time. And there's conversations and issues that are open and in the registry press that went in on why we chose discovered time over the time of the commit or anything else of that nature.
Just to double check the initial point there on moving to pulling the hash based on the first time you read the tag. Is that documented somewhere? Just I can see some people getting confused for when they republish something, and I know they shouldn't, but people will at some point and getting confused.
We will document it when we do it.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Just like let's just same with the other.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's
Yeah.
understood behavior. That's all.
Where should that documentation live?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
part somewhere on the registry.
So
Docs, maybe potentially somewhere around like some sort of FAQ just for stuff like this, where it's like we're doing this for the right reasons, but it might not be exactly how you imagine it works. But if you're doing something,
That's fair.
I imagine that we could have two situations in the future. Once we've got all of the data, one is OpenTofu, when you do tofu init, could tell you the git tag on this repo is currently X, but the commit that we're serving is Y because we ingested it at this time and it's changed. You may want to just make sure everything's okay. The second part is in the registry UI, we could display if that git tag has changed over time and drifted. But right now, we just want to make sure we've got all of that data so we can put the mechanisms in place and encryption on that. So,
yeah.
Yusuf?
In general, is there a doc site for the registry to be like, these are the API endpoints that we've got that we're using for this, these lock file lookups, all that stuff?
So as part of the OpenTofu docs, we do have details on both the registry protocol and some notes on OpenTofu's additions to it. We also have documentation on the provider registry protocol.
I think it's not up to date with some of the newest fields. We should update this documentation.
Oh, this is the registry docs. Sorry. I forgot this thing existed.
I think this is what Yusuf is asking for, right? Like the documentation about consuming things from our registry and how the endpoints and what they each do.
So this is the docs API, not the registry API. There's two different ones here.
It's a really good point. We do separate APIs. We need to have unified API documentation for the registry and and search.opentofu.org.
Yeah.
Wait, no, this
Which
is
one were you asking?
right, but I will look into this.
Okay. Yeah, this is what you linked is the docs API. Which one are you asking about, Yusuf?
In general, I think the registry is under-documented and would like further documentation to interact with it as, someone building tooling around OpenTofu. Many others would too. I think it's a yak shape though, and we can take it offline.
We need to do this as we are going to sunset a project we call libregistry. So, yeah, we'll do this.
Just to highlight something, I think right now, if you were to look up documentation for the registry or registry behavior, you are very likely to hit HashiCorp documentation. So also in our interest from that perspective to have docs out there that addresses this.
I did link to. We do have fairly comprehensive docs on what the protocol actually is.
That's what we inherited from Hashi. So Hashi stuff is going to come up first instead of us. I've found this for SDO stuff. So
yeah,
that's right. Okay, I have to go in like 1 minute. Does anyone want to take over, or are we done? I'm getting thumbs up. Okay. So awesome. Okay, anything from you, Troy?
No, I'm good. Just trying to get back in the swing of things.
Awesome. All right. Well, see everybody in 2 weeks. Take care and have a great day.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.